back into game now as the pauses come through. The attack is actually going in onto the A side pretty aggressively. Spike's planting, nobody's dead. Everybody's, of course, on pistols because it is the first round. But look at the way that they're congregating, actually, over here. Look on the bottom and mid. Razor's going to catch out where the Brimstone is. Rocket Launcher does trade with a nice headshot, but look at all of the damage that Replin's getting in. Picks up a double kill. He's trying to find more. Bad timing when it comes to trying to find the Sage, and the double peek makes things even more awkward. Now it's just up to Emilio to stop this now in a 1 versus 2. Isn't quite sure where exactly people are going to be holding, but the Brimstone is going to get him in a bit of a crossfire. Positioning is going to be moved up a little bit from Embo. Not too much though. Emilio was keeping his attention quite rightly. And on this attack, too good for Lan, take the first round. Music can go, it's not necessary. Just some happy chiptune whilst we have a very crazily important game going on. Alexi's going to be lurking and manages to actually pick up 2 kills very nicely. Goes down to low health, but that's a lot of damage done towards A, but you can see exactly the movement of the defenders now. The execute is going in towards there, but you can see that the farmer knows well aware that they're in that direction. They are actually going to awkwardly run into the Razor. Here's a lot of clumping, actually. They're still going to push towards there, and they haven't necessarily seen that he's looking around. Oh, misses his shots completely. Replin. The pinch shell's going to be a good one, and it forces out the push, but Rocket Launcher again picks up another nice kill, but the spike is planted. It's just up to these 2 defenders to try and get something done. They aren't quite sure where exactly Too Good for Lan are going to be holding, so they're just going to take this very carefully, quite rightly, because Fake is right around this corner, picks up 2. 2-0 for Too Good for Lan. Its attack is going relatively well. I do think that Split is starting to bounce up when it comes to attack or defended sided. But I think when you have some of these good teams being able to execute, it can be very attacking sided now, I feel. Things starting off very smoothly so far. Replin's had an impactful start to say the least, considering he has his showstopper. Nice recon bolt coming all the way from A screens from Emilio. Doesn't quite catch much, but not any information the Dream Chasers didn't already know. They knew that people were mid, but it doesn't catch out how many and where exactly they were stood. B-side's going to be executed on. The Sage Wall is prepped. The Barrier Orb is going to protect from any damage coming through. They're going to scout out the site. There is going to be a Brimstone right around this corner that's going to get the spray in. So that's going to actually be 2 now. The Barbar gets a 3rd. Look at this. Rotation is going to be good. Unfortunately for him, Replin gets a lot of damage in. Emilio is going to get this defuse in. It was a very explosive round. The majority of the damage coming in from Barbar, who I think is a relatively new Valorant player. Maybe a lot of experience in the Counter-Strike scene that he's still trying to work out exactly how to transition the skills that he's picked up from that game over to this. That could certainly seem likely. I hope I'm not peeking too much. Twitch chat, can you hear me? Am I too loud? Is the game too loud? Is it too quiet? Bet all of your money on Dream.
Revealing area.
The attack is going to be a slow start with Too Good for Land. They don't need to rush it. They still have economy, which is good. Things haven't been broken too much by Dream Chasers winning that last round. English, Ryan, can you speak it? X's going to come in thick and fast now, it seems. Fake lead in the line is going to push towards A, but I think Ember is going to wait for them, and the Orbital Strike is actually going to be really well placed. Doesn't quite get the kills. Actually, no, never mind. Excuse me. Ember does get downed as he tries to push on through. It's flushed out a little bit, but now it's the Farmer that's farming up these kills. That's going to be a second for him. They have spike control, and it's all up to Alexi, or was at least, up until he was killed by Cobra. Puts us even on score, and I think Dream Chasers should be able to pick the lead at this point now, considering this will be an eco coming out of Too Good for Land. To get here, Too Good for Land had to beat Royals and Fabrican, which was a very close game, the Fabrican one. Both those teams pretty much neck and neck. They had to beat them. They did lose to Prodigy. They came second in their group. Dream Chasers top there, surprisingly. Like I said, there were some really tough teams there, but you'd assume it would be the other way around, just from how today's been looking. This is going to be a little bit of a half buy. Not quite a force, but a half buy from Too Good for Land. In theory, Dream Chasers should be able to hold off on this one. Now the showstopper is going to be used on the defense. Doesn't catch anybody out, actually. The showstopper is available for Replin if he wants to use it. There's a lot of utility being thrown their way that isn't quite catching on, so he's maybe looking to use it now. Fade Shell is going to be used and hit towards the back where the raise is. Forces it out early. Gets a frag and opens up stuff, and the Neural Theft is now dedicated on the attack, showing up exactly where these defenders are going to be. Showstopper's going to be good. It does fire, but it doesn't quite catch them. Quite rightly, you saw Emilio just scatter across there, and even gets a kill with the Operator. Misses the flick shot onto Replin as he's opened up onto the site. But luckily, the Farmer and Cobra are able to clean up house. You were expecting it to go Dream Chasers' way, but that was still a lot of damage and a lot of deaths that they took hold of. Luckily, they held on to the majority of their ultimates. Big buys, double operators dedicated by Dream Chasers. It is a common strategy. We didn't really get to see it all that much on Bind, to be fair, because they couldn't string that many rounds together in order to afford it, it feels like. First kill going in onto Zadish is good. Replin does get a bit more damage into it. It's now a 3v3, and there's a lot of space being taken by the Rays on this attack. More damage is done. Actually does take out Replin. I was trying to flick to their perspective, but it just wasn't working. Triple kill for Cobra, who's certainly woken up today. He's going to go for the defuse. It's just now going to be the Cypher left alive. Gets a kill onto Alexi. The spray was almost good to get the other one. It was a nice flick, but in the end, really no damage comes to Cobra at all. Defuse comes in. And now Dream Chasers have woken up, and now we've got a game on our hands, it feels. Another half buy coming out of Too Good for Land. It seemed that they did more with their last half buy than they did with their full buy, really. It was a lot of damage done in from Dream Chasers. Cobra's going to rotate all the way around, but the Orbital Strike is going to be used on this attack. Sage Wall not put up. In fact, Cindy's going to be playing it a bit further back with the Marshall. The heal is now going to bring out Fake onto a bit higher health. That headshot to Farmer was pretty nuts, to be fair. The Operator is quite scary from that distance. Sage Wall separating either side to make sure that the push doesn't come in, but from behind this is going to be not an ulted Cobra, but one that does have the ult available if they want it. The lair does get used, and they're going to use another one to throw it out, but it is going to get sprayed down. They know roughly where these last two attackers are going to be. The spike has not been planted at this point. Rocket Launcher opens up a bit more. Barbar's having a much better game. 5-2 now for the defenders of Dream Chasers. And these newer players, Cobra and Barbar, for this lineup of Dream Chasers are starting to look really good now. Their economy isn't as good. They have been taking a fair few hits, but this is now going to be able to be a buy for Too Good for Lan, who certainly looked a lot quieter, but is as expected because it is split. Things could change quite dramatically when we switch over to them being on the defense, but there's still going to be 5 more rounds before that even happens. And they need to make sure that they can bring this up to a closer scoreline, because right now it's not looking all that good for them. In-game sounds a bit higher. Okay, I can do that. There you go. Just bumped it up a bit. How about this for a sound test, though? The showstopper's going to be used. Big booms making all this. Look at the space the Dream Chasers have given up for themselves. It was a smart play. They're going to fire it out, and no damage can come in from that. Emilio is actually the first to get first blood. Embo's trying to lurk in mid. It's a bit of an awkward one, but the Resurrect means it's now 5 versus 5. Retaking a little bit of space, but look at all of these attacking players that are around on this corner. They're sort of well aware of it. Where the hell is everybody on Dream Chasers going? They're moving over to B. My guys, no, it's over on A. You're leaving Emilio and Cobra to die, but you know how Cobra's been playing. He's the one to do the damage. Abuba almost gets the kills, but it doesn't really matter too much as Replin is the one that gets the frags. Now the showstopper used on the defense actually misses, and Replin's able to get a triple kill. Zadish, what is going on? Dream Chasers are throwing a wobbly right now. The Farmer does have his ultimate, the Resurrect, but do you even use it? It's pretty much all gone wrong. Oh, Dream Chasers. That was all over the place. Too Good for Land just sort of took a lot of space in mid, held it, and then it was like they were on tilt. They weren't sure where to hold, where to play. They missed their ultimates. They missed their shots. They certainly didn't keep their composure. They still had the lead, so things aren't necessarily that bad, but a lot of ultimates did get used. I think the Empress was thrown out. Certainly the Showstopper was. There's no ultimates available on this attacking side now. I don't think there will be for quite some time. Actually, no, never mind. No FF is available soon, and the Resurrect is, of course, available on this defense, as we just saw. But that's a key round to win if you're Too Good for Lan. Alexi knowing where that recon bolt is going to land means it's not going to get all that much info. The Sage Wall is broken and Embo is killed on A. They're stacking mostly on A, but look at the space now. The Replin's opened up for his team. The Sage is going to give chase. The Farmer is now looking onto the B site, and they've lost control of Heaven. And now Sadish needs to be careful here, as Alexi was on that side, but also the Replin was coming in behind. Sin runs right into the Farmer, and the site is opened up very simply for Too Good for Lan to get this plant in. And from the pace that these defenders are taking it, Emilio and Cobra, I would say this is looking to be a save. Another round on the board, Too Good for Lan pulling it back. These have been very quick games, probably some of the faster ones if we do see Too Good for Lan winning on split in any case, I think. Hope everybody's having a good day. It's very early morning in the EU, and Emilio's the first to get the frag into Alexi. Good stuff from DREAMCHASERS needed right now as they are on a bit of a losing streak with a couple of these rounds. Nothing too much to worry about. But think about both these teams playing very vanilla lineups, at least to an extent. Is that you have some level of consistency, I suppose, with how they play this, where they play it. It's not the most exciting game to start off with, but important nonetheless. The attack coming in now, fake flashing, catches nobody, but it does give a good indication to the defenders that is a big spray down and a lot of crazy damage coming in. There's only 3 left on this attack, one of which is going to be the Brimstone. Embo is only on 11 health, now down to 2. It's only up for Replin. Embo to try and get stuff done. They are surrounded on all sides. Just going to be the Brimstone. He smokes one side. Isn't really sure what's going on the other. They need to pick up the spike and rotate around, which is something that Replin's actually done, using some utility to wrap around very quickly. And Embo's managed to escape with his life. Needs to get that plant in as soon as possible, and Replin's made a lot of well, at least a big opening for his team and put this into a 2 versus 2. The issue is now that the defenders are coming from a different angle than they may be expecting. Embo's low on health. The showstopper is available from Replin. They're trying to change up their positioning. I'm not necessarily a fan of how they're sort of sticking together like this, but the crossfire is good. They're trying to work out exactly where the raise is going to be. Both of them are Replin. The ticket is super slow. They know the sandwich is going to be on site. Replin gets a third. Fourth is going to be used. That's a dunk! 4K for 2G4L. And a super strong round for Replin. They were on the brink. Embo just did his job, got the plant in, tried to scout out intel, and Replin just did the rest. He's having an incredible game. Again, another 20 bomb, only 10 rounds into this game on split. He's taking everybody through a loop. What a hell of a round for him. Replin starts this round the same way that he ended the last, getting a frag onto one of the members of DREAMCHASERS. Brimstone is down, but the majority of the action now is happening right in front of us, but also over on this A site. Passive now as the man advantage is very much in favour of Too Good for LAN. You don't need to rush this, and Embo getting some damage in now is going to put Emilio under a severe amount of pressure. It is a save really out of DREAMCHASERS, so only so much should be expected. The farmer is the last alive, and not really too much to save, so it's probably just going to go for it. That skin is very nice on the Ghost. Tries his luck, but Cinder's going to watch that angle like a hawk. Means that at least Too Good for LAN go even into halftime. They won the first 2 rounds. DREAMCHASERS won 5 in a row, and they've won the last 4. Empress now used on the defense. No point holding on to any of these ultimates that the majority of these players have. They're not taking them with them when they go into halftime. It's an aggressive play. The Lyra's going to be thrown out on this corner. They spot out more information. That's a double kill now for Cobra to set up with. The Orbital Strike doesn't catch much at all. Boombot is going to spot that intel at least, and Replin is going to sort of use it to back out, maybe play a bit differently. He's the only one on his team that is over on the A site. So much space is taking on his defense. The issue is, really, Sin does have the resurrect, but all of the teammates that have died are over on A, so now they're going to sort of bait and rotate around. Dream Chasers are sort of falling for it a little bit at least. Breaker Bot's not going to show up too much because nobody's moved at all just yet, so Dream Chasers, all 5 of them, giving a lot of space up now on A. It's good play for 2G4L because they have the resurrect. They can bring up one of these 2 players on this side as Sid is going to move into there. They need to be careful of Emilio, though, with the operator, so the cages do get used. Gonna bait it out. Brings back Fake. Now Dream Chasers are prepared for it. There are a few ultimates on the table to be used. Most certainly, Emilio doesn't really need one too much, but Hunter's Fury is going to be thrown into the chokehold. But it's even that. It's going to be the Reyna that gets the majority of the damage done with a triple kill. Now it's just a spray and pray onto Sind, who has to completely back off, has the spike. 6 seconds left to try and plan. Is just going to have to try and sort of mess about a bit, try and get some frags in, but mostly all of that came down to Cobra getting the 4K with the Empress. Resurrect, oh, I'm turning into Elmer Fudd. The Resurrect not being really necessary, I feel, for Dream Chasers, as both the scores are even going into halftime. Now it's up for Dream Chasers to attack, and it's up for me to work out where the hell people are on this list, so... So Replan is good to be on there. Alexi. Sind. Faking Imbo. Okay. The attack is coming in onto B, so let's have a look and see exactly what the members of Dream Chasers are looking to do here. The slow is going to slow them down a little bit, of course. I mean, that's what it's for, but the smoke. It's going to stop them from pushing in. The Eldred is going to be the thing that sort of has them break through as much as they possibly can. This defense feels a little bit better prepped. Everybody's coming in, actually. A lot of stuff happening towards Heaven now. Replan's trying to get quite a lot in, and he is getting his shots down, but does get sprayed in by Cobra. Zadish is going to get the plant down, which is good for them, as a triple kill now comes in for the Reyna play. That looks so much better on Split than he certainly did on Bind. Now Aftershock is going to force Zadish out, but he manages to still get the headshot in onto Fake. Good amount of damage done, and Dream Chasers do take back their lead on this attack. Defense are now pushing mid, kind of aggressively, as you should sort of expect. They don't really have the guns for it, but they're going to try and sort of push through anyway. Emilio, though, gets an easy triple spray, gets the quad. He's hunting for the ace, but the plant is going to come in now from Dream Chasers. It's all up to the Rays now to try and get that frag in.
start. Revealing area.
First blood does eventually come into the arena. Cobra's going to lead the line. Has been doing super well. Must be one of the top frags on the server. Not quite overtaken Replan yet, but not too far off. The Farmer is also added to that tally. All of these newer plays that we haven't really seen before for Dream Chasers. Getting quite a lot done. Certainly on this attack now too. The plant is going to come in yet again. Replan gets a kill though. Now it's only up to the breach. Fake is going to save the guns. It's really important that I think he does that. Taking my time with this chat because I do think that there's a best of three. There's a third map on the cards, to say the least. I think no matter what happens though, Too Good for Land would have choice of that map considering they got the most points or most rounds from the two maps that we've seen. Regardless of the score on split at least, they won 12-6. Well, actually no, it would be even to be fair. All Too Good for Land would need to do is win one more map, and then they would be able to decide what to play if we go to a third map overall. This is patient play though, coming out of Dream Chasers. Now that there's stuff mid at least. Not quite sure how much though. Sarge opens up onto Sin though. That's a really good shot from distance. It's another awkward buy it seems for Too Good for Land. So there's only so much that they're able to do, but they can still maybe catch out Dream Chasers if they're not too careful. Most of the damage is coming through. Excuse me, I was trying to look at where the Reyna was, but unfortunately the Reyna is dead. There's not going to be any Cobra, but there's going to be quite a lot of other stuff that's happening onto the rest of the site. The showstopper Sadish has available, and these B hits have been near enough impenetrable. Seems that this is going to be a save. Breach not wanting to move at all. I don't know if it's a case of saving or disconnecting. I don't think he's disconnected. Raze is going to be keeping an eye out, at least with, could be the Marshal. It would make sense, actually, why Fake wants to save if he's still got the bigger gun. And save it. All the Raze is going to do is just pick away and get some frags. That would have been awkward, though. Rocket Launcher does get a kill there. And Fake's just going to save the Vandal that he had hold of him. And oh, if Rocket Launcher's not careful, he's going to get caught by the spike. This is good news for Too Good for Land. Whilst they have 4 maps down and haven't won any on their defending side, they have wrecked the economy a little bit for Dream Chasers. Not too much that they need to panic, but if they do lose this run, they would have to save following. Look at this recon bout. I'm going to work out where that landed, actually, because that was pretty good. I think it got destroyed before I could even get there. But I think it, like, lands around, like, here. Like, right in front. I tried to ping it. The attack is making its way through. It's been relatively successful so far, and with 4 ultimates available for it, you'd expect things would go in a similar way. Too Good for Land. This wasn't really their map pick, but they did have the first ban choice. I think they picked to get rid of Ascent. And then we saw Dream Chasers banning Haven. From that, Dream Chasers actually picked wanted to play Abide first, the map that they lost pretty decisively as well. Now Showstopper is going to be used. Oh, and Sin gets the kill. He's going to be holding their ground still. Embo now is having quite a lot to do. Sin is still alive, did so much damage now, and even with the ult advantages that we did see coming out of Dream Chasers, it is looking likely that they're going to be losing this round. The Farmer though has opened up a bit, but Embo's still holding his ground. The spray is good from Sin, gets his third. Some really awesome play actually coming out of him. Holding off against the Showstopper, wasting it for Dream Chasers. And they make sure that they can get around in. Actually tell a lie, they don't need to save at all. Dude, I was looking at the wrong scores, that's why. They're looking at the wrong teams, but yeah, there's still good money, of course, for Dream Chasers because they won so many rounds in a row, so not too much of a dent in there. They do have 3 ultimates, but now 2G4L do have more. And it really is a case of Replan versus Cobra when it comes to fragging out like crazy. Both of them leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. Who can carry the most, it feels like. Right now, very little is happening. Replan's looking in the general direction, but it's the attackers that are going on towards mid. They are slowly gravitating towards A, though. Help bolster this attack and execute. And the Showstopper is available for Replan. It's going to be first contact. Gets the first kill. He's going to back off. Not used to Showstopper just yet, but throw it in. Emilio reads that so well, though. Catches him completely off guard. Emilio is down, though. Sid is still getting quite a lot done, though. On the Sage, and wow, even before I could blink, it feels like 2G4L took that. Seemed that there was a lot more to offer for Dream Chasers there. They had ultimates. I'm quite surprised, actually, that Replan didn't use the Showstopper, but Emilio read that super well with the Operator, but whilst I was trying to work out where he was playing, he was taken down, he was traded, and from there, 2G4L were in pole position. It is worth adding when it comes to the other quarterfinals today, they are at set times. The time is in about an hour and a half from now. 3 PM CST, so that's 2 PM UK time if you're the same as me. And that match will start at that time unless this game goes on too long and more of a break is needed, but not really likely, I don't think. So just put under a bit of pressure into mid. The slow orb is going to delay that push and actually makes them change their direction completely. The rotation does come out from Too Good for Land. The wall, though, was a big dedication, but it might work out considering the Dream Chasers haven't necessarily dedicated towards the A site. You can see the plan that they have to maybe push through mid, and Cindy's going to hold on to it. It's working their way around this corner. That's where a bigger group, certainly, of the attackers are coming from. Around this corner, it's going to be the Raze getting quite a lot done, but she dies, actually. Zadish gets taken down by Fake on this attack. Black is planted, it's a 3 versus 3. The Reyna on this attack does have The Empress available to them, all of the agents actually on this. The Resurrect is going to bring this to a 4 versus 4, and then Hunter's Fury is thrown across. This is going to catch too much, but this is a showstopper now. Actually out of raise. That's going to be Replan against the kill onto Emilio. The Hunter's Fury caught out positioning wise as expected, but look at this. The amount of damage that's being done by Cobra. Gets a 4K, has to get the ace. The defuse has been dedicated to. He's still going to try and grab it, and he does. It doesn't matter if the ace is grabbed. It almost is. It's awkward. This is all over the place. The ace is still there for Cobra, but the defuse came in. Replan knew that he didn't want to face up against this Raze, who has been killer so far for Dream Chasers. So they played their win condition. They played the objective, and it worked out narrowly, but beautifully for 2G4L, as they're only 1 round behind now. Oh, Cobra's going to be pretty mad. We'll tag the top fraggers. Actually, no, even not yet. Replan's still got 28 kills. Cobra is somebody the Dream Chasers really want to hold on to. And they also want to hold on to this lead as much as they possibly can. A lot of pressure being put into Heaven again. Cinder's done a really good job holding Heaven for the most part, but can't replicate that success as the Raze does get the kill. Now Replan's able to get involved yet again. He's looking towards more B main, but the rotation is going to be good. I don't think the Cypher has necessarily realised that it could go away, but has the camera, knows that the tripwire was destroyed, and is going to be able to meet them with the Phantom. They are coming from Heaven. The tag is going to be a good one, and they have good information on exactly where these attackers are coming from. Lexi's going to use this window to sneak in onto the site somewhere that I don't think necessarily Dream Chasers may be expecting at this point. They're going to be holding an off angle as people move on to the site. There's only so much that the farmer can do. The spray is good for Alexi. Gets a second, gets a third with Rocket Launcher looking in the wrong direction. Emilio stops that. But Embo puts an end to the round. 10-all now. This is very close. Too good for Lion have woken up a bit. They did lose 4 rounds in a row. Now they've won 4 rounds in a row even still on this defense. So things have looked really well for them. I don't know in particular if they've switched up positioning of any particular players or changed up their game plan. But their control of B Heaven has been really good for the most part with Sind. We haven't really seen Dream Chasers being able to attack the B site all that much. Certainly not recently. A seems to be hit quite frequently, and that's where most certainly Too Good for Land look a lot stronger. Maybe that is something the Too Good for Land are aware of. Or Dream Chasers even. Replan gets first blood yet again with the Operator. Rocket Launcher, Bye-Bye is killed. Embo is a kill that's opened up onto the site, and Emilio's going to use the Recon Bot to scout if there's anybody else around. It is actually going to be the Sage that's holding incredibly close, and that information is going to be pulsed up, but Sin still wins that engagement. Trying to fight it out, but now it's just going to be the Rainer that's the last alive, I believe. Yeah, so it has the Sheriff. There's so much to do. But for the first time in near enough forever, it feels like Too Good for Land take the lead. They're only 2 rounds away from winning this. Dream Chasers are doing a lot better. It's a lot closer game, but they're going to be heartbroken if they lose out onto this game. There's no coming back from this. It's a best of 3. You either qualify for the semis or you're out. And I think Dream Chasers were holding on to the great performance that they had in Epulze. So going out in a very quick fashion like this isn't going to be too good for the confidence, but it would match up to some of the other results in other places that have happened since they topped the Group A, which was what, end of May. We got some crazy games lined up for you today, even if this one ends very quickly. Fish123, one of the best, maybe still the best team in EU. Lost their main MVP player. Don't know where he's gone just yet. They will be playing with a substitute of Scream, who we all know and of course love. Their form hasn't been great. They lost a pretty big tournament against Hip 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 before, and since then they haven't shown their face. They've been working up on stuff. Best team in the one of the best teams in the world in a really bad run of form. Up against Pipe Pirates, one of the best teams with a really good sense of form. That's coming to you live at 3 PM CST in about an hour and 25 minutes. Be a slobber knocker of a match. Now the showstopper is going to be used by the Rays. This is going to be Zadish coming through, trying to scout exactly where people are. Shoots at the corner to try and clear it out, but nobody's holding it. In fact, it's actually going to be Replin from a decent distance with the operator that's going to be able to try and hold stuff off. Even bringing out the Gus to get the spread kill in. Is trying to work out exactly where Cobra and Emilio are going to be holding this now. Changes up the operator for a Vandal, and they haven't necessarily spotted exactly where Cobra is, and he gets a fourth. A lot of stuff is going to be done. We want to be watching this position. Has the Empress, is overhealed, but Emilio's taking it super passively. This is going to be a tall order now. The angle is awkward. Another ace now for Cobra. The second in this game. This one a lot more effective. This one a lot more necessary. Means that Dream Chasers are still in it, and King Cobra is acting king on split. 32 frags and 12, 34 and 16. I've never seen individual performances like this in a game. Just on its own, you know. I've seen 30 frags here or there. I haven't certainly seen anything closer to 35 frags, but who can carry more, it feels? King Cobra or Replan? Whoever loses this map is going to be disappointed. More so for Dream Chasers, as they will be knocked out of the tournament if they lose this. 2G Pharrell just want to nip it in the bud. They want to be over and done with. And the rotation is going to be a slow one to A. Let's check out exactly what Brimstone is doing, which is Barbar. Less of a black sheep, more of a dark horse, I suppose it would be for Dream Chasers when it comes to this tournament. I think if you're looking at favourites, you still have to give credit for Fish 123 and Prodigy, even though their lineups are going to be distinctively different to what we're used to. Starting from CS is also a very strong lineup. That could be a different roster. Some of the players in that lineup could have been signed, unable to play for that team. Party Pirates, the game that we're seeing coming up next. Certainly these two lineups are looking really good currently. But things aren't looking good for Dream Chasers in this round in particular. And this is going to be another Empress available now to Cobra. His individual performance is super scary. To say that he's carrying would not really be an understatement, as Embo makes sure that he's not going to replicate that form. Emilio is the last one alive, but for very little. And 2G Pharrell go on to match point. And it's all to play for now for Dream Chasers. 36 and 17.
Thank you.
And the money is not good for Dream Chasers. Have to find a way to play this as well as they can on this attack, not run into where the majority of 2G Pharrell are stacked. Their rotations have been pretty crisp. The retakes on B have been the only negative point, I suppose. So they've got a lot of people in that direction stacking it that way. They can play retakes on A a lot better, so that's why they have 3 on B. And I think that's been their main change, I suppose. Sin wanted to put up the wall. He's going to spray down one, but Heaven has been given up. The orbital strike is going to catch them out. And so is Repla. Repla gets a second. That is important. He tries to get more onto Emilio. The showstopper is going to be used to find out, but it misses him. He backs out, gives that this respect and space that it deserves. He's going to peek around that corner. That's the third. Emilio is down. And Embo is the last one alive. Dream Chasers are out. Get out of here. And 2G Pharrells go into the semi-finals, which will be happening tomorrow. Heartbreak for Dream Chasers. Their bind was certainly less than impressive, but their split, look at that. Almost a 40 bomb for Replan. We haven't seen a performance like that. An average combat score of almost 500. That context might be missed on a lot of people, but that is insane. But that's going to be it for Dream Chasers in this tournament. And really unfortunate with how that's looking. Sad to say the least that this team went. They topped their group. They really surprised a lot of teams. Being a relatively no-name at the start of Epulze. They came in, gave us a good show, and really, we just needed to see a bit more in bind. Wouldn't you agree, chat? That was the thing that could have maybe changed up stuff completely. But that ended in electric fashion. Coming up soon, though, in about an hour and 15 minutes. So it's a bit of a long break, but definitely keep the stream on. Or you could follow me on Twitter, and I could let you know. Twitter.com/RyanCentral_ over all of the casting news and stuff going on. But, man, you know, people might not look at the Too Good for Land Dream Chasers quarterfinal as a high-impact game. Some people that don't really know the EU scene might even look at these two teams and be like, who are they? And I think that was a performance that showed off some of the key players, some of the key strategies. And whilst Too Good for Land came off the better team and ultimately won out the performance, I don't think you could be too disappointed by how that was. Let me know what you guys think in the Twitch chat. Pretty good game, I thought, at least. You're going to have to bear with me a second whilst I just quickly do something. But we will be going to, I'd say a quick break, but that would be a complete lie.